All right, Mr. TALIAFERRO TV. You know what? I'm gonna do this, and I rarely do this with artists. Really anybody in general. But this one is gonna be a well put together video, and we're gonna talk about everything Meek Mill related. And I'm gonna just say this: it's very sad when you got a guy who's Meek's 30 years old, right? In a position that Meek is, he's worked hard to get in this position. He's just hitting that pinnacle. I know the album before last is when he did 250 the first week. He didn't do those numbers for his last project. But when you talk Meek, man, you ask all these up-and-coming artists, or you ask anybody that's in the position of like a Quavo or the Migos or anybody around it, 21 Savage, they'll tell you that Meek is their guy, right? And Meek gives a lot of these youngins advice. But when you see the guy giving advice, not really following the advice that he's giving, it hurts, man, because Meek's probably one of the last real street rappers, right? That's been able to kind of come over in the mainstream America. He's one of the last few. And for those who don't know the news, Meek Mill has been sentenced to 2 to 4 years in prison in Philly. Now, let's break down all the variables that got Meek locked up today. All right, he's doing it. He's gonna start now. Let's break down everything. Meek was summoned for today in court because his probation officer and judge, I got her name. Her name's Miss Brinkley. I forgot her first name. Her name's Janice Brinkley. She summoned Meek back in because she felt as if though Meek ain't just been all the way 100. All right. Now, what do I mean by that? There have been 2 cases that Meek has been involved in. He was charged with assault in an airport, and more recently, he was charged with reckless driving in New York, and that was like the week his album dropped. Now, both of those cases were dropped. Those charges were dropped, excuse me. Both of them dropped. But that was enough to create the summit to get Meek to come in and, kind of check in. Now, this is what happened today. When Meek got in there today, the judge was like, yo, Meek, you ain't doing everything you need to do with these travel restrictions. Yo, you supposed to check in every time you leave that house. All that stuff has to be documented because you're on probation. Now, for those who want to know why Meek's on probation, I'll get to that in a second, right? And the second thing, Meek failed another drug test, right? Meek failed another drug test. I'll talk about that more later because Meek said he wasn't on the drugs no more. He failed another drug test. His piss wasn't clean today. So let's talk about what got Meek back on probation to begin with. Now, this thing with Meek and the weapons and drug case, this is almost a decade old, right? He was 19, I believe, when this started. Meek's 30 now. This is over a decade old. But after the court and everything, this is like a little less than a decade since this has been finished. Now, Meek couldn't get off probation. Remember, he had to do house arrest for a probation violation in 2015. This is right around him and Nicki. So he can't seem to get this probation and shake it loose because he keeps doing little minuscule stuff that keeps getting him in his probation extended and extended and extended. And that's how we got here. So he's going to do 2 to 4 years despite both the cases that he's been involved in being dropped. That's crazy to a lot of people. And I'm with you. That's crazy. Both of the cases that he had been involved in were dropped, but he's still doing 2 to 4 years because they deem as if though he's violating his probation. Now, I'm not the guy to sit here and say Meek has no wrongs in this. Meek has a lot of wrong in this. That piss still dirty. Y'all can say what y'all want. He's still on some sort of drug. Now, when we talk about the drugs, Meek Mill pretty swore swore up and down when he did his interviews with Ebro in the morning and Angie Martinez. He's like, I ain't on the drugs right now. I've grown past that. I've always told you what I felt about Meek. He says the right things. He ain't doing the right things. I think the same thing about Chris Brown. That's why I think they always dodge outlets like the Breakfast Club. They're saying the right thing. They're not necessarily doing what they're saying. They're saying the right things in these interviews, but their actions would show otherwise. Now, again, the reckless driving and the airport charges dropped, but actions from Meek Mill as of late, to me, and the Chasers, to me, just the overall persona of them have not been, we need to protect our guy who's on 2 strikes. That's just my opinion, right? I've gave y'all the facts. My opinion is Meek Mill has not acted like a rapper or just a person with 2 strikes. What are you talking about, Taliaferro? Now, I don't believe this had anything to do with the judge, right? Or this had anything to do, this was not brought up, to my knowledge. The Safari stuff. There were no charges drawn there with Meek Mill and Safari. Remember at the BET Awards weekend, you see Meek Mill hop out of the car, then reportedly 2 dream chasers, or a couple chasers came and jumped Safari and one of his homeboys. You remember that video? So again, nothing from a charge standpoint was there. But to me, this is the impression that it gave me. Yo, you know cameras are rolling BET Awards weekend everywhere. Meek, I get it. You don't like Safari. Safari said some things. You're a man first. You got to check him. But I just don't believe Meek was moving, or the chasers were moving. If y'all got to do that to somebody, make sure Meek's not around that. Meek don't need to be around that at all. Give you an example. The Beanie Sigel situation. Remember, one of the chasers has taken responsibility for jumping Beanie Sigel at it was at a show. It was on P. Diddy's tour. It was on the Bad Boy tour. All right, or he snuffed him. He didn't get jumped. He just snuffed him. It was a big chaser. He took credit for it. Again, Meek wasn't around that. Am I advocating violence? No. But again, as long as Meek wasn't around that, at least keep the money maker away from that. Another situation. This ain't hit the wire yet. Yo, the Chasers and French Montana's crew, the Coke Boys, were involved in a situation about a week or 2 ago. Is Meek's name tied to that? 100%? No, but to me, his crew ain't moving around like that of a guy who has 2 strikes. If Meek got 2 strikes, that means the whole Chasers have 2 strikes. Is O'Malley selling out shows? Is O'Malley putting out platinum albums? No and no. And I'm not trying to throw any disrespect. Anybody else in the Chasers, I'm not trying to throw disrespect to O'Malley or anybody, right? Anybody in the Chasers or anybody, that's your breadwinner. Only Meek Mill, he's your breadwinner. He's the guy that makes you guys go, right? And the young artist that's under Meek Mill, without him around, your careers are going to have a tough time getting off the ground. I'm not saying it's impossible. I think they got the schooly artists or the Scully artists. It's going to be tough with Meek locked up for 2 to 4 years. I don't believe the Chasers move like a crew with their mans on 2 strikes. I've seen it before. I tried to do an interview with Gucci on the fly. Real quick story here. I tried to do an interview with Gucci on the fly in February of this year, actually. Again, Gucci had been out, 5-6 months since then. Tried to do an interview with Gucci. His security shut it down immediately. It's like, no, we can't have anybody coming up to Gucci. You wanna know why? I respect that, even though I wanted to interview with Gucci. I came up to him at a show. They was like, no, we gotta shut that down. We ain't doing nothing that's not on our schedule. I respected it. Then, I mean, obviously I wanted to do the interview. I had to respect it. Gucci's move. Look at how Gucci moves now. He moves like a guy who's on 2 strikes. His team, their business, in, out, in, out. We don't want no problems with nobody. I don't want to reconcile any old flames. I don't want my old partners back. I don't want none of that. Heck, I didn't even invite my brother and my mama to my wedding. If the energy ain't 100, I don't want it around me. I'm trying to stay clean. That's Gucci's message since he came home. All positive vibes. The brother has changed. His team had to change because he had to change, right? I don't look at the Chasers as a team that was making the necessary steps to keep their breadwinner free, right? If this is a football team, an offensive line got to protect their quarterback. You think if the Patriots lose Tom Brady next Sunday, it's over, right? The season is done. The Packers lost Aaron Rodgers a few weeks ago. Their season is done. Meek's the quarterback of this team. And I've always felt like Meek needs somebody. I don't know this for a fact, but I like you did, I watched the Meek Mill movie on BET. Right? And I always thought, yo, this seems like it could be, and it was shot in Philly. I always thought, yo, this movie seems like it's very realistic. And if you didn't watch the movie, Meek had a lot of yes men around him. And I'm not calling anybody a yes man, but I think Meek needs a no man more than he needs yes men around him. He needs somebody to say, yo, Meek, nah, bruh. No. I know you don't like him. I know you ain't rocking. Nah, we can't do that. And I just think that mentality is a part of the bigger picture. Now, for Meek, 2 to 4 years is what he's going to do. A minimum 2, maximum 4. When you want to talk about his career, obviously, let's make this clear. I don't really feel comfortable talking about this man's career. First and foremost, I think his career goes to the side. This brother has kids. And if you really want me to chime in on it, I knew about I did a video on the fact that Meek Mill had to go in, I think a few days ago, I knew it was bad. I was like, yo, this summon came out of nowhere. Like, Meek's name just got cleared for the charges with the New York and the reckless driving, right, on the motorcycle or whatever. I was like, yo, this came out of nowhere. The judge either has something, and I don't know when he failed the drug test, but I mean they gave the results today. Something to me tells me that Meek knew he was gonna get locked up. It was a snap of Meek Mill he posted last night with him with his kids. I was like, yo, he posted that last. We've all been there, done that when we know, yo, a guy ain't too confident about what's gonna happen. And Meek's been adamant about this judge has it in for him. They want to make an example out of Meek Mill in the Philly court system to show everybody, look, if it can happen to the top dog, it can happen to you. Do they have it in for Meek? Like I said earlier, I'm not arguing that. I really do believe the judge might have it in for Meek Mill. Meek Mill's did some stuff in his past. I'm pretty sure he'd admit that he ain't too proud of, but he had to do it to get by. Now, well, here's where my problem with Meek is. You know the judge got it in for you. You know you need to get out probation. That's up to you to stay clean. Did you have to do the motorcycle thing in New York? I get it. You were celebrating the project. Did Meek think he was going to get locked up for that? No, but you just can't do whatever the heck you want. You know what I mean? Just, you can't do that. The assault thing is a little different. I've heard different reports. I heard conflicting stories about, was Meek trying to just, fend off somebody who wanted a picture. He wasn't feeling it. I don't know, man. I just say, take the darn picture. Jeez, I know people go through stuff. Just take the picture, please. We don't want to see you with no assault charge. So again, just to clear it up, Meek's gonna do 2 to 4 years. Very sad, man. His career, who knows where it'll be 2 to 4 years down the line. He has great classic records. The intro will still be there 10, 20 years down the line. But from a standpoint of Meek and just all the success and the wave that he had been on, I don't know, man. This is gonna be tough to bounce back from. Gosh, you can put out music all you want from jail or prison, wherever. It's just not the same. It's not the same as being around and touching the people and working the records. Meek couldn't do a tour, man. A lot of people don't know him and Yo Gotti and Lucci and Moneybagg Yo had a tour together. Meek couldn't do it. That's the truth. That's behind the scenes. They were saying that they were waiting on the music to sell. Meek couldn't do the tour. Obviously, you really see he can't do the tour now. He's gonna do 2 to 4 years. Very sad situation, man. But I'm not the guy who's gonna come on here and be like, free Meek, free Meek, free Meek. No, I did see some things from Meek that will let me say, yo, Meek gotta clean it up. Like, Meek can't just be walking around like he invincible, right? I think the judge does have it in for Meek, but at the same time, I think Meek helped her situation. He made it easy for her today. Well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't that hard for her to give him 2 to 4 years. I think I got a quote from her. She said something along the lines of Meek just won't get it together. When somebody says a person won't get it together, they're literally banking on the fact that you don't want to act right? You don't want to obey by the laws, all right? And Meek's lawyer is going to appeal this, but again, I think he's already in now. So we will see if the appeal can go anywhere. Thank y'all for the time, love, support, man. Again, we don't want to see anybody incarcerated. No one. And we just want people to do the right things out here. And Meek ain't showing the ability to want to do that. Or it's just still little bits and traces. He's a street rapper, man. He's been blessed with a lot of success. And this stuff is hard. But at some point, Meek's going to have to clean that team up. He's going to have to clean stuff up. Let some of this mess go. I get it. People talk about you. But, man, you're in that public domain. You benefit a lot from people talking about you as well. You're going to have to let some of that stuff go. Hopefully, he gets another shot at this. At the earliest, he'll be, 32 and a half? He'll still have time to write as long as he doesn't do the 4 years. We'll see. Thank y'all for the time, love, support. I hate it for Meek, man. I hate it for the Chasers. Very unfortunate situation, man, but they're going to make an example out of Meek, man. That judge has made it her duty to make an example out of Meek, man. That's for the city of Philly. That's what that was for. And hopefully Meek doesn't get any trouble. He said he's pretty chill in jail. A lot of people know him. You know what I mean? He said he was talking about Nicki in jail. So hopefully he can come up with a new superstar chick that he'll want when he get out. And hopefully he can keep his head up. Keep your head up, Meek, man. Come out with a clear mind. Let all that other stuff go. Get the money. And let's call it quits. I'm pretty sure we'll talk about this more, even though Meek will be locked up, man. Very unfortunate, man. Thank y'all for the time. Let's support. I don't take it for granted. Salute. I'm out.
What's going on is yours truly, Mr. TALIAFERRO. And if you enjoyed this latest video, whether it's sports, hip-hop, or other culture-related activities, please subscribe to my channel right now. And if you want more from TALIAFERRO, you can always subscribe to the React channel for more of your latest reactions and music and sports highlights.